Okay, so we're gonna dive right in, guys. I see a lot of people joining. My name is Mandy, and I am the founder and CEO here at Resin Rockers. I'm just gonna go over a couple housekeeping things before we dive into our box. So safety is number one. We take that very serious here at Resin Rockers, so I wanna make sure that everyone at home is safe today. So if you want to wear a respirator, you're more than welcome to do that. Make sure you're working in a well-ventilated area, so open that window if you've got one. Wear nitrile gloves, that's what I'll be wearing tonight, and wear the proper clothing. So I have an apron on to protect myself. Just make sure that you guys have something like that as well. Let's dive in and unbox our kit. And I want to go through the kit with you so that you know exactly what everything is and how we're going to utilize it. So this is your solution. So this is how we're going to do liquid shakers. Now, I'm showing you how to transform a mold that is just for dry shakers and take your piece and turn it into a liquid shaker. So that's one of the, I guess, more challenging things that we'll be doing tonight that you're gonna walk away with that little nugget of being able to do that. So that's very exciting. But this is the solution that you guys are going to be using during this class. So in this little bag, you will find a little tiny bottle, and it has a needle tip to it. That's what we're going to be using to fill our shakers, because we're going to be drilling them. We're going to be drilling a little hole. It's a 1/16 inch drill bit. Say that 10 times fast. But we're going to fill this up with our Two Moms Craft Shack original solution, and then we're going to fill our shakers with this. Now the other things that are in this bag, we have a foam grip here that I'm going to show you how to attach a shaker to. We have a magnet as well, so we're going to use that. And then this is dual lock tape, and this is a Velcro tape, but it's a very strong adhesive. And the reason that we have this in here is because I want to show you how to make things interchangeable. Make them more functional so that you're not making 10 things for the same purpose, but you're making 10 little pieces and changing them out to the base. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that tonight. So that's really cool. You're gonna have your slanted silicone brush, and we're gonna be using this. This is gonna be your baby tonight. And we're also going to be using a mini silicone cup right here. So if you have more than one of these, I suggest getting them because these are a little bit small, but we're gonna be using this a lot tonight. All right, you have a 100-gram bottle of the original formula. This is what we're gonna be using to make most of the bases. So it's gonna give you that rock solid, heavy cure. It's gonna be really, really easy to use. But this is plenty for you to continue crafting after the class as well. You are going to have our color burst formula, and it might be just a random color, but all of them glow in the dark. And I'm gonna show you how to add a little bit of fun to your shakers tonight with this glow-in-the-dark resin. I'm going to show you how to apply it, how to cure it, and what it looks like in the dark. Tori's going to be our Vanna White with the lights tonight. This is our new formula. This is called Glimmer Cure, and this formula has the glitter in it already. So if you are one of those people that don't like mixing and you don't like the mess of glitter and you just want to knock something out really quick, this is definitely for you because everything is pre-mixed. Everything's done. You're going to pour it directly out of the bottle and cure it immediately. So this is a fun formula. You guys are going to get to play with this. All right, you should have 3 different clays. You're going to have 2 Halloween mixes. You're going to have 1 Christmas holiday one, and then you're also going to have some nonpareils, and I'm going to show you how to do some fun things with these. It's a little fun inclusion. And then you have some glitter. You have a green, an orange, and a white glitter. These are all microfine glitters. They're very, very shimmery, very fun. If you're wanting to know what the colors are, this is Push Up Sherbet, Emerald City, and Diamonds and Pearls. So those are the 3 colors, and I'm hoping that you guys have your own selection of glitter as well, because there are a lot of different shakers in here, and you might just want to put your own spin on your shaker, just like this bat that I made. This is a really fun one. And last but not least, this is your bag that we're going to be using that has all of our molds and all of our film in it. So if you guys want to open that up, now you will have gotten 1 of 2 options, but don't worry, we are going to be talking about every option. So each person should have 5 molds, and you're going to have 10 pieces of film that match each mold. So go ahead and lay out your molds so you can see what you have. And again, we have 10 different molds. The first ones that we're going to work on tonight are going to be the Christmas tree, the wreath, and then the gingerbread house. So if you have those, go ahead and get those out. And I know you'll have at least one of those. That's the idea, is to have at least one of those. So I'm going to be pouring them at the same time because I want each of you to be able to see what I'm doing here. So you're going to need your silicone cup. So go ahead and get those, and go ahead and open up your silicone brush because we're going to need that to stir everything. Now let's get our UV resin. You're going to be using your 100-gram bottle. So I want you to go ahead and open that up, and inside the pointed tip, you're going to take this off and you'll see a foil seal. I want you to go ahead and remove that foil seal. You can use an X-Acto knife, you can use scissors, whatever you have handy, but you're going to remove the foil seal in there. And one thing that I like to do is I like to warm up my resin when I'm casting it in a mold. It is not required, but it is something that I do like to tell people. It really helps to make it a little bit more runny. It eliminates some of the imperfections in your pieces if you don't want to let them rest. Since we will be moving a little bit faster tonight and we won't be letting things rest as long, I'm warming my resin. Again, you do not have to, but it is an option if you'd like. Okay, so we're going to get our molds out. So these are the finished ones. So we're going to do our wreath here, and we're going to do our lovely little Christmas tree. And then I'm going to show you the gingerbread house. So we're not going to pour this one tonight. And the reason we're not going to pour it is because it is very similar to the Christmas tree. And if you have the Christmas tree, you've got the gingerbread house, and they are very similar in technique. So we're just going to do this Christmas tree. Let's go ahead and get our nitrile gloves on. We want to make sure that we are being safe. So I'm going to be using the green glitter, which is our Emerald City. So I'm going to use this. You can use whatever green you would like. You can even be adventurous if you want to, and you can use a chunky glitter if you'd like. It's completely up to you. Our UV resin does cure with chunky glitter. The trick is just not making it too thick. You want that light to be able to penetrate all the way through that piece on both sides when you turn that mold over. So it's just very important that you keep that in mind when you are pouring, mixing and pouring. But yes, you can use a chunky glitter too, so it's totally up to you. But I am going to use a microfine for this. Okay. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to fill my cup up halfway. I'm doing 2 because I'm going to pour one of each. Somebody will have a wreath, someone will have a Christmas tree. And I'm going to add my glitter. So you want to add just a little bit of glitter on top. It's always better to add some glitter, mix it in, and then add more. Because the worst thing is to add too much glitter, and then you're having to add more resin and more glitter and more resin. So just by mixing first and then adding more, it's a lot easier to work with, and it's a lot easier to make sure that you don't have any waste. So we're going to take our silicone brush, and we are going to stir this glitter in. And the idea is you don't really want it to be transparent. You want it to be colorful all the way through, but you don't want it really, really thick. You can see I still have it pretty runny here, which is the idea, because I'm going to add more glitter after I get this worked in. So let's go ahead and add some more. We're going to add just about the same. Now, if you struggle with measuring, we do have glitter spoons in the shop that are very helpful. I usually will measure out by spoonfuls. If you have the glitter spoon, it would be 2 full spoonfuls of glitter. So now that I have that mixed, we are going to go ahead and pour that in our mold, and we want to have our lighters handy because we're going to be using our lighters to pop any bubbles that work their way to the surface. You can see here there are already bubbles because anytime that you're mixing in something to your resin, it's going to create some bubbles. So just run your lighter over that really quick. Don't use a torch, just use a lighter. It's a lot easier. And then we're going to go ahead and pour. Now you may have to mix more than once, but you're going to pour right into this crease right here. We're going to start there. Nice and slow. And then we're going to go to the outer part. And we're going to go all the way around. And the reason I take my time with this is because I don't want to trap any air pockets. It's very easy to trap air pockets and it takes a while for them to get to the surface. And since we are going to be curing and not letting it rest, I want to make sure that I take my time. So we're going to pour a little bit more. And we're going to take this all the way up to the top rim, but we want to make sure that we don't overfill it to where it's going to come up here where the snowflake is. So we just want to make sure that we account for that. All right, with the Christmas tree, you're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to start here and pour all the way around. Just like that. All right, we're going to go ahead and pour this, and we're going to take this all the way to that top rim, just like we did with the wreath. Perfect.
Beautiful green. Beautiful green.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lighter and I'm going to go across the surface gently, and I'm just going to get rid of those surface bubbles. And then I'm going to top it off just a touch more to make sure it's nice and full, nice and level. Perfect. So we're going to run our lighter across one more time, and then this, you guys, is going into the lamp. So if you have a Magicure, I'm going to show you how to use that because I know a lot of you are first timers with the Magicure, so we're going to be learning all about that tonight as well. So I'm going to line my pieces up. If you're doing two, you can do the same. And we are going to run our lighter across. Get rid of those bubbles. Now, one thing, if you are working with thick resin, I'm going to show you a little hack that you can use. These are called micro brushes. They are the tool that people use in the dentist's office when you're getting a filling. So you can actually just search for them, micro brushes, but these are awesome with resin because you can get in there without making it overflow. You can get in there and you can release all those air pockets, bring them to the surface, and then hit them with the lighter, and that will ensure that you don't have any imperfections in your piece. So, little tidbit for you there. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my Magicure over and we're gonna start getting this cure going here. So on your Magicure, you're going to see multiple settings here. I want you to turn it on the back here, right here, till it beeps. And you're going to see that the wattage right here is down to nothing. So this is going to be down to the lowest setting, which is 6 watts. Now this lamp goes all the way up to 48 watts. So when you're working with a mold, especially one that's a lot deeper, you're going to want to titrate up in wattage just to keep the integrity of the shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click that 120 seconds to start that cure. And every 10 seconds, I want you to just bump that wattage button up 1. And we're going to do that until it gets to 36 watts, which is the second from the top. And then we're just going to finish it out at that 36 watts. Now, because this one is hanging out a little bit, I will also cure this one because I don't want to take a chance of it not being cured all the way because it's not fully under the lamp. So we're just going to get it started on the end here and then swap them out. So just keep bumping that wattage up, and then once it gets to that 36 watts, we're just going to finish it out there. And while that is curing, go ahead and get your film out. So when you look at your film, you're going to want to get this shape for the Christmas tree. And then for the wreath, you're going to get this shape. If you chose the gingerbread house, you are going to get this shape. Now you can see that the tree and the gingerbread house are very similar. So we just want to make sure that we are putting the right one on the right piece. So we are down to 5 seconds already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and if you'll notice I put my cup in there because I'm curing my cup so that it can peel out super easy. We're going to take our Christmas tree, we're going to flip it over, and I'm going to take the wreath and I'm going to just turn it, do a 180, and then we're going to go in and cure that. And this time we're just going to do 36 watts. We're just going to take the lamp all the way up to 36 watts and we're going to do 60 seconds. I only have to titrate up on that first initial cure just to keep the inside cool. If you keep that resin nice and cool in there, it doesn't overheat, it doesn't cure too fast, because when you cure too fast, it will tend to bend or warp, and that's one thing that we want to prevent when we're doing this. All right, so the tree is done. So I'm going to set the tree aside over here, and I'm going to put this wreath in for 60 seconds on each side at 36 watts just to make sure that it is fully cured. All right. So I'm going to let that tree cool for just a minute. You'll see that's nice and warm. If we're going to be drilling that, which I'm going to show you on the second batch how to do the liquid shaker, but we are going to drill this one just so that it's ready to go, so that if you change your mind after, you can still make it a liquid shaker. There's also another thing that I like to do to make it clear on the inside, because what happens sometimes is, because you are heating up a liquid, you will get some moisture in there. Well, if you drill a hole, then it's not going to have that moisture. I know a lot of people that have made shakers in the past have come to us and said, you know, it's weird because it looks a little foggy. Well, it's because there's moisture in there and there's nowhere for it to escape. So if you drill a hole, you're going to have airflow in there, which is going to prevent the moisture, and you're not going to have that issue. So I'm going to show you how to do that today too. All right, so go ahead and peel out the resin from your cup, or cups plural. And I know in the supply list that I sent, I asked you to have either some packing tape or some Scotch tape, or something sticky that we can clean the residuals out of our cups so that we can have them ready for the next color. That way they're nice and clean. That's the one thing I love about UV resin, is it is so quick and it is very easy to clean up. It is not sticky when you're trying to, wipe your cups out and all that. You never have to do that. You just cure, peel, and go, which is awesome. So this is pretty cool. It's cooled off quite a bit. And then we have our wreath, which is cooling as well, and it's fully cured. So that's awesome. So we've got those two done. And if you've done your gingerbread house, then you've got that little guy ready too. Now, if you're wondering how I did the glitter on the inside a different color, all you have to do when you're doing that, there are all these little separate molds on the edge. So like a little door, there's a little candy cane arch, there's a little bow, there's all these extra little things that you can pour in addition to the actual piece, and you can use them as embellishments to make your house even more fun. So you guys are gonna get to do that. So if you are wanting to do that, you're more than welcome to do that on your own and play with that later, but you can adhere everything with UV resin. That's the most fun part. We've given this guy enough time, so let's go ahead and take him out of the mold here. And you'll see, look how beautiful that looks. So pretty, nice and shiny, nice and smooth. That's exactly what we want it to look like. Now, if you notice that you have little pits or something around yours, that would be caused from air pockets like I was talking about. And you can easily change that by either warming up your resin, or you can use that micro brush like I talked about. So you've definitely got some options. All right, so you'll notice with this film that it fits right inside of the ridge. Now we talked about, in the beginning, we talked about the different kinds of film that come with different molds, and you're gonna get that. It's not gonna be consistent across the board. They're all different. So I'm gonna show you how to do all the different things so that you can be the most successful with these. Everybody has their own technique, but I can show you what I do and how it works for me, and hopefully that will work for you too. Each one of these films has a protective layer on it. If you don't see the protective layer, all you have to do is take a piece of tape and put it on one side, and if a protective layer starts to peel up, you'll know that's the correct side. Now what I like to do is I like this side to be down, because I know for a fact this side is going to be clean. It's going to be definitely dust-free, lint-free, all the things. So I always take that side and go directly down. All right, let's go ahead and take out our wreath, if we've got the wreath. Beautiful. Look at that. So pretty. So pretty. And again, the wreath has all of the little embellishments too, so you guys can have some fun with those. And even with our little snowman, if you wanted to put like a little snow hat on, a little cap, it's so cute. There are just so many things that you can do with these so that you guys can start making some really unique pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and drill holes in these because I am going to let that air flow, and I'm also going to maybe transform these into liquid shakers a little bit later on. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So if you have a drill, I'd like you to go ahead and get that out. I'm a power girl. I like power tools. Tori likes power tools. We do all the power tools here at Resin Rockers, so I'm just going for it. So what I want you guys to do is you're gonna drill a hole, and you can pick, it doesn't really matter what side, but I tend to go here at the bottom because I have more room between the edge and the inside. So I'm gonna go right here in the middle toward the bottom, and I'm just gonna give it a little bit of pressure. And we're just gonna go right through like that. And then I'm gonna reverse, and I'm gonna go out. So it's nice and easy. And then you're just gonna clean that, the little bit of resin out, and you'll see I have a nice little pinhole there. And that hole is gonna be the exact size of that filling bottle that you guys have. So I'm going to do the same thing with my wreath here. So I'm going to see where the top is. If you look here, there's a skinnier part down here. That's toward the bottom. So I'm going to do the bottom. Less pressure is more. You want to go less and slow because you just don't know. You don't want to go too far in. All right, so now I've got my hole there. So I've got airflow holes, or if I want to turn them into liquid shakers later on, I can do that. Let's take a look at the wreath here. So this one, you want to make sure that you're lining it up in the right place because there is an actual right place, believe it or not. So you'll see these little, what I look like wavy lines right here. You want to make sure that those match up with the wavy lines. So it's almost like a big cloud and then a bunch of wavy lines. So just make sure that it's where you want it to be here. So now we're going to go ahead and fill these with our fun little inclusions. So I am going to be using a fun little Christmas blend of clay in my tree, and these are, you'll see we have over 400 different clays in the Resin Rockers shop, so you'll never go without something that you're wanting. This is the one I'm using for the Christmas tree, so I'm just going to sprinkle some in, and you guys can get super creative with this. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can do 3D glitter if you want to. You can do gemstones. You can even do the little nonpareils that were included in your kit, some of those. I like using these in the wreath because the wreath has a very small area to work with. So I feel that these work really well in the wreath. We are going to then apply our film. So again, making sure that you're going to be matching it up. I'm going to peel off this protective layer, and then we're going to turn it upside down because I want the clean side to be down, just like this. Now, I will tell you, remember when we talked a little bit about different techniques and how people do things differently? I have tried to adhere this type of mold, and there are a lot of molds made like this, which is why this class is so good, because I'm going to tell you all the tricks for all the different types of molds out there with the pre-cut film, which, by the way, we had cut files designed for each one of these molds to make it perfect for the exterior, to make it easier for you. So if you guys decide to keep making these after, you can go on to the individual mold listing, and below there will be cut files that you guys can download, and it is so nice and so easy. So you're welcome for that. All right, so we've got our film down, and I'm gonna do that same thing on my Christmas tree, just like that. And you just want to make sure that it is laying flat down on there, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put one layer of UV resin on top of these, and then we're gonna cure it at 60 seconds at that 36 watts. I want you to put some, if you're doing the wreath, I want you to put it all the way around the inside of that, and it's gonna level out. And same with the tree, we're gonna go all the way across. And then I want you to grab your silicone brush, and I want you to pull that resin to the side all the way around. And then we're gonna sand this too. We're gonna sand it after, but this is just to get that film in place. So I want you to pull it all the way up toward that edge. Now, if you prefer to sand first, by all means, go for it. And I'll show you that on the next one. I always sand my pieces if they're liquid shakers, because anytime you have liquid, you don't want any chance of any leakage. So we'll be sanding our next pieces for sure. So pulling this all the way up to the edge, all the way around. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in the magic cure, and then I'm gonna do my tree while this is curing. So pulling, pulling, pulling. Because we are gonna do 2 coats on this. All right, now I'm gonna take my lighter and I'm gonna go all the way around. And then I'm going right into the magic cure for that 60 seconds. And I'm gonna pull my tree away because I don't want my tree to cure while this is curing. So I'm gonna put my tray up, my mirrored tray, to block that UV light while I'm working on my tree. And we're gonna do the exact same process where we're just pulling that resin all the way out to the edge. And we're doing that all the way around. And if you're doing the gingerbread house, you're doing the same thing. You're gonna lay that film down, you're gonna pull this all the way out. Now, if you're using a lamp with a really high wattage, I recommend holding your lamp high above your piece while you're curing it initially, because if you cure it too hot, it could start to pull that film up a little bit, and you can get a bubble under there, which I'll try to actually do that on purpose just so I can show you guys how to fix it. But if that happens, you just sand it down and just recoat it. So it's not a big deal, but I'm just telling you how to prevent that. Okay, so this is going in 60 seconds. And we've got our wreath right here. We've got the first coat on. Congrats, you guys. Look how cute it is. So now what I want you to do is, I like to grab a paper towel to sand in just to contain the dust. So grab a paper towel, and I want you to sand the top of this shaker, and we're gonna sand it all the way down. We're gonna sand it all the way down. And if you are working with a gingerbread man or gingerbread house, you're gonna do the same thing. You're just gonna sand the entire surface, not the sides, but the entire surface after the cure. Now for sandpaper, I know I put in the instructions 180 to 220. I happen to be using 220 for this. So just whatever you have on hand is fine. They both work really well. But you got to trust the process during this, because we are sanding that finish all the way off so it's nice and dull. And what that does is, not only does it give you really good adhesion, but it's going to get rid of any imperfections, and it's going to give you that really beautiful top coat that you're looking for. So I know it looks like you're messing it up, but I promise you, you're not. We're gonna spray it with a little bit of alcohol, and we're gonna wipe it down so it's nice and clean. We don't want any dust or debris on there. I'll wipe that down, wipe the sides down. Perfect. So this is what it looks like now, and you're like, no, but don't worry, we're gonna fix it. All right, so now let's take a peek at our Christmas tree. Look at how cute, you guys. All right, so this turned out really cute too. And yes, we are gonna mess it all up by sanding it, but trust me, the end result is totally worth it. All right, so we're gonna sand all the way around. So you can see why on this type of shaker, I do not sand before I put that film down, because you are sealing it in with the UV resin. So if you have film that sits inside the shaker, what are you not going to do, guys? This is your quiz. What are you not going to do if this film sits inside the shaker? So I'm using a stay put mat because I'm really tired of my pieces moving around. So I'm just gonna put them on there so that it's easy to maneuver my pieces. And we are gonna go ahead and put the top coat on these two. We're gonna do the same exact thing with the UV resin. We're gonna go all the way across for the tree, and we're gonna go into the middle of the wreath for the wreath. And gingerbread house, same thing. And we're gonna go ahead and pull that to the edge all the way around. Now there are multiple silicone brushes that you guys can use. I kind of use a variety of them. This one is the flat edge. I typically I like this when I've got to tap that UV resin around. It just makes it a little bit easier. The pointed one I use a lot for little details. That's good for really details. The slanted one I feel like is, and that's the one that you guys got, is the universal. You can really use that for just about anything. Mm-hmm. So that's the quick and dirty on the different brushes. Now, I am gonna let these rest a few minutes while we start mixing up our next one, because this is the final coat and I want any bubbles to come to the surface. These are gonna go over here. I'm just gonna have them kind of sitting, hanging out for a little bit, and then we'll cure those in a little bit. We are gonna move on to the snowman, the skeleton, and the ghosts. So both ghosts are very similar. So if you have a ghost, go ahead and get that out. The reason we're gonna pour these at the same time is because you can use similar colors to do it. Like both of these ghosts have crevices for the eyes. So we're gonna do glow in the dark here on your ghosts. Or you can do it on little skeleton dude. If you want to take your time and make his arms a different color. Now this is the gold color that I did for the arms. What you're gonna do is, if you look here, you can see that the arms are up a little bit higher. So we're gonna pour the resin first, the white resin first, and then when it gets to this edge, I'm gonna show you what to do with the gold color, because it is kind of fun to have that detail and not have all of it white. Now, a lot of people won't go to all that extreme, but hey, I wanna teach you guys all the techniques that I use to do different colors with UV resin, because the cool thing about UV resin is you can separate all of the detail out, because we can use the curing lamp to our advantage. Because I'm doing so many at once, I'm gonna get several cups ready. But if you're gonna just choose one, that's totally fine.
Another good question. If you drill after the film is placed, wouldn't there be shavings inside?
They would be very minute. Like not enough to where, because that drill bit is so small, that it's not gonna be enough that you're gonna be like, oh my gosh. For instance, let me give you a really good example of that. So this little guy right here, I made him a while back, and believe it or not, there is something in here that is a foreign object other than clay. And we joke about this all the time, because you kind of got to look to find it. But when you find it, right there, it's a piece of paper towel.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I was
looking.
so mad.
I'm over here.
I was
an inch
so
from
mad
my screen
after that, because I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" But no one, literally no one, would know that except for me. All right, so I'm using Frosty, which just came back in stock. So I figured I'd give you guys a taste of what this looks like in a mold. But this is one of my all-time favorite white glitters, iridescent glitters. It is just simply stunning. It's so pretty, and you're gonna get to see why. Now, one thing I will show you guys that I did with my glimmer cure, since that's going to be your fun thing to use after the class, is I actually poured this guy with glimmer cure. This is the silver glimmer cure, so I didn't mix anything, I didn't add anything, I just poured it and cured it. Super cute, and you can see this one is with a different glitter, but it is mixed with UV resin and poured. Look at the difference. Can hardly tell the difference, and this was no mixing. So you guys are gonna have a lot of fun with that. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with that. And we're just gonna start pouring, and we're gonna pour all the way around. And we're gonna let that start to level out. And then I'm gonna do the same thing here. So we're just gonna pour this. Pour first, color burst later. So I've got the snowman down here, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my pocket lamp, and I'm just gonna set the resin really quick on the edge here because I've poured it all the way to the edge, but I didn't pour in to where the arms are. So I'm just gonna set the resin, cure it for just about 5 seconds total, and that's gonna prevent it from running into where the arms are. And then I've got the rest of my white, I'm gonna set that aside. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cure this ghost, and I'm gonna go ahead and mix up the gold real quick. There's all different kinds of gold you can use. I'm gonna use Enter Sandman tonight. And you don't need a lot of resin for these arms. Just a tiny, tiny bit. Tiny, tiny bit.
Very tiny.
We're gonna stir that up. We want this to be a little bit thicker because we wanna have more control with it. And I'm just gonna pick it up with my brush, and I'm gonna drop it down into that little arm there. Tap it in there. And you just wanna make sure that you're pushing it in so that the air pockets come out so that you don't have imperfections. And then I'm just gonna take my silicone brush, the slanted, and I'm just gonna run it across, just like that. And then I'm gonna use my pocket lamp, and I'm just gonna cure right there so that it doesn't run into the snowman. Now we're going to flip our ghost over, and we're going to cure another 60 seconds on the other side. So we're flipping him over, putting him back into the magic cure for 60 seconds. And I'm gonna use my pocket lamp to keep those little hands nice and sealed there. Perfect. All right, now we're going to add the rest of our white into our snowman here. We're gonna run our lighter across our little snowman here. And I'm gonna flip this guy over. Now the reason we are doing cures on both sides is because the underneath can be gummy because it is a thicker pour. So you have to remember that you want to make sure that you are curing both sides, otherwise you could take it out of the mold and then you're left with this gummy mess, and you don't want that. All right, so while these are curing and while you're letting them rest, we are gonna fill up our solution. So go ahead and get your Two Moms Craft Shack solution out, and I want you to open it up, and I want you to try to put that in that little bottle. Funnels are helpful. If you have a small funnel, great. If not, one thing you can do is you can take your bottle and go face down and squeeze it to get the air out, and then when you let go, it will pump the solution into it. So that's another way. Or you can pour it. If you have a steady hand, you can pour it. All right, so we're gonna take out our ghost. Look how cute, oh my gosh, he's so cute. He's so cute. So we've got our ghost. We've also got our little skeleton guy. So cute also, very, very cute. So I'm taking those out of the mold so that they can be cooling. And I'm flipping over my snowman because he's done on one side, so I'm going to flip him over and do this other side for 60 seconds. And we are going to do some color burst on these. So we are going to be using our glow in the dark formula. So go ahead and get out your color burst and go ahead and open the seal inside, and then I want you to turn it upside down, and I want you to lean it up against something for a few minutes because it's very thick and it takes a bit to get to the tip in the bottle. So we just want to make sure that we are letting that settle a little bit. So hopefully you guys got your bottle filled up with that solution, whichever way you want to do that. But this tip will fit right where you're drilling that hole. So we're going to go ahead and drill our holes as well, you guys. So I'm not going to do all of these, but I'm going to do my one ghost, and we're going to do our little snowman, and then I'm going to show you how to do color burst in this guy too. So all of my pieces are done curing, and I'm just going to let this one cool a little bit because it just came out and it's a little bit warm. So let's go ahead and drill our holes and get that out of the way. And slow and steady. Very slow and steady. Very little pressure. And you can see when you put your drill in reverse, it brings most of the shavings out with it. So you're really not going to have many, if any, shavings inside your piece. So if you are drilling it after the fact, don't worry too much because there's not really going to be much there. So we've got it in our ghost. I'm moving on to my skeleton, but he will get there. And we're going to do the same thing with the snowman. See how it pulls most of the shavings out with it? So that's why you want to put it in reverse, if you can. This is actually ready to go in and cure. So I'm going to put my wreath and my tree in, and I'm going to start at 60 seconds at that 6 watts, and I'm just going to slowly titrate up, and then we're going to finish it out at 60 seconds at the 36 watts. So it's been resting long enough, and I want that glass-like cure, the glass-like finish on top. So we're going to go ahead and start that process, guys. So let me tell you how, with the snowman, how I did the face, in case you want to embellish yours a little bit later on. So I used rhinestones for the eyes, and I just UV resined those down. And then I have these fine tip markers, permanent markers, and what I do is I just put a little red on each one of the cheeks, and I filled in the little nose, and then that's it. And then if you want to do the hat, you just pour, I did black magic is the color. I just poured the little hat that's inside the mold, and you can glue his hat on. He's cute with or without the hat. It's totally up to you guys. But yeah, putting the hat on is super easy as well. All right, so we have all of our holes drilled. Hopefully you guys, you've got your solution ready, which is great. So let's go ahead and do our color burst. The eyes are gonna be done. Actually, I'll show you guys all the little places we're gonna do. So the eyes and then little nose right here on the ghosty. And this little ghosty has the eyes and a little smiley face. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah. And then you can do stuff on the other ones too, like if you're doing the pumpkin, you can do the little eyes there and the little nose and the little mouth with the color burst. And I'll show you how these look in the dark after we're all done here. We're going to take our color burst and we're just going to fill in the eyes of the skeleton here, and we're going to let that level. It's going to level out real nice. And I'm going to use my pink for my ghost. And I'm just going to use a little dot for each eye. Just like that. And you can do the nose too if you want to. It's totally up to you. And then once this levels out, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cure that. So I'm going to kind of block this from my light because I don't want it to cure yet. It's still leveling out. So once that levels out all the way, we're going to cure it. So here is our little Christmas tree, you guys. Look how cute that turned out. Awesome. So cute. That finish is flawless. So you can see by letting it rest just a few minutes before you do the cure and then curing it slowly really will give you that flawless finish. And that's all the magic here, man. The magic here is everything when it comes to that finish. Same with the wreath, so pretty. I got a little bit of shavings under there I need to clean up. So pretty with the wreath. And again, you guys can do the embellishments on top to give that wreath a cute little bow. It's gonna be so cute. You're gonna love that. These are great gifts too. People are gonna love these.
Oh, they're so cute. What a great gift tag.
Oh yeah, that's so cute.
Put a little ribbon in there.
That's a
and
great,
tie up a
that's
gift
a great
bag
idea.
With it. Adorable.
Okay, so we got our color bursts in there. So we're gonna check that color, the glow in the dark out here. Now I want you guys to go ahead and we're gonna sand the top of these. We're gonna sand, not the snowman. Remember, we don't sand ones with the ridge inside, only the ones that don't have it. So go ahead, make sure that your color burst is nice and cured, and then you're gonna go ahead and sand the edges all the way around. And this is how I'm going to show you. And this is going to be the same technique on the pumpkin and the bat. Because this film is one that usually is cut a little bit bigger. So we want to trim it down a little. All right, we're gonna get rid of all that dust. Now let's go ahead and put your inclusions in, whatever you wanna fill in these guys. These are the Halloween ones, so we're gonna do some Halloween shapes. You guys can pick whatever speaks to you. This one has a lot of little ghosts in it, bats, stars, some fun stuff. Witch hats, it's a good one. Okay, so like this one as well, this is going to be similar. We're going to hold our film up to the piece, and I want you to see where it lies. So when you hold this round one up, you'll see that it goes all the way to the edge. We don't want that. We don't want it to go all the way to the edge. The cut file will not go all the way to the edge, but the reason we don't want it to go all the way to the edge is because you're not getting a great seal around that edge. So what I want you to do is I want you to cut this film all the way around just a little bit until it lands in the middle of that shaker. And this is how a lot of molds come, you guys. So now you're gonna know how to fix it. So we're just gonna cut all the way around about this much. And this is how you're gonna do the pumpkin as well and the wavy ghost.
That's just acetate film.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
So you're just cutting a little bit all the way around. And then I want you to hold it on to the piece and you'll see that now it's in the middle instead of being at the edge. It's in the middle. That's where we want it. We want it in the middle. So what we're gonna do is we are going to figure out where that protective film is on this piece. The film will come up on one side, and that's the side that you're gonna know. So it's on this side. So see how it sticks there? So I'm gonna peel that off, and that's the side that I'm going to put down. Okay, so I'm going to set this right here for now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my UV resin and I'm just going to put a teeny tiny bit all the way around my piece. And I'm gonna take my film and I'm going to sit it right on top in the middle so that I have a nice seal. And then I'm gonna take my pocket lamp and quickly just cure that piece, just like that. Now you do the magic here too. Just hold a little bit of pressure on this top part of the film, and then you're just gonna throw it in the magic cure, cure it for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds at the 36 watts, and that's enough to cure it. It's just the pocket lamp is super fast. So it does a really nice job, really fast. So now that you have this on, we are going to add a top coat to this, and that's what's gonna seal it all in. So we're gonna do that together with the ghost. I'm gonna show you how to line the ghost up. And then you guys are gonna be in good shape here. And then we'll be able to move on to our last batch. If you're doing your snowman, you're gonna do the same thing you did with the Christmas tree and the gingerbread house. You're going to lay the film in after you put your inclusions in, and then you're going to put your first coat on of your UV resin, and then you're going to sand that coat down and then top coat it. Let's line up this one on here so I can show you where it lies. Same thing. See how it goes all the way to the edge? So you're gonna wanna trim this top part and then this bottom part right here. Don't worry about the arms because those are fine. You just wanna worry about the parts that it's going all the way to the edge. So just trim a little bit off to where it meets in the middle of the rim, and then you're gonna be set on that one. Same with this little guy. It's a fun little ghosty.
Very cute.
So here's the ghost film right here. So you can see that it has a longer edge here. That's gonna go this way on here. So when you put this down, I want you to look at it and you'll see that this one has hardly any that you're gonna have to trim, if any at all. So if you have the straight ghost, you're pretty much in good shape. Like I would say, according to my judgment, you really don't need to trim this one at all. So you're just gonna peel that protective layer off, and then you're gonna lay this down, just like this. So put your UV resin on there. And we're gonna lay that film down so that it's touching everywhere. And you wanna try not to move the film, not to shift that film once you get it down, because otherwise it'll leave resin inside of the rim all the way around, and it just kinda looks not as crisp. So it's not gonna hurt anything, but it's just not as crisp as I would like it to be. So both of these are ready to seal. Both of these are ready to seal now. I'm going to quickly show you guys these and where to line these films up, because you guys are gonna be able to tackle these on your own. And I'm gonna show you where the films line up so you know what has to be trimmed and what doesn't. So this little gem right here, this bat, when you line the film up, you can see it goes all the way to the edge. Same with the pumpkin. When you guys have the pumpkin, the film is gonna go all the way to the edge. So in the chat, what are you supposed to do if it goes all the way to the edge?
It's very quiet in the chat.
I know they know.
Trim it.
That's
Everybody's
right.
saying
Trim
That's
it.
right. Everybody's got it.
Good. Trim. You guys are awesome.
Trim, trim, trim.
Awesome. So you're gonna trim with these two right here. They're going all the way to the edge, okay? So with the coffin, let me show you the trick to the coffin, okay? So when you put the coffin on here, do you guys see the little divots there? Do you see the little divots in the coffin? So what I do is I trim just enough to get some space in those divots, because those can cause bubbles and we want to prevent that from happening. So just trim a tiny little bit all the way around that coffin and seal it down just like you would the ghost, just like you would this guy, just like you would everything else, but you're just going to trim a very, very small portion of it, and then you're going to seal it down. This guy's so fun though. You guys are going to like the last batch that you guys are going to do, but we're going to learn how to do the top coat here, and then we're going to fill these, because I want you guys to be able to fill them with liquid. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our top coat on. So for this one, we're just gonna put a swirl of UV resin right here in the middle. And then for this one, I'm just gonna do a squiggle all the way down. And then we're gonna do the same technique where we pull from the middle all the way to that edge. And you'll see when you're spreading that resin, the seam where the film is meeting the piece is going to go away, because the UV resin is going to really help to hold and hide that for you. And this resin will continue to level out. So even though you're pulling from the middle, don't worry, because it's still going to continue to level out. If you notice you need a little bit more resin, add it to the middle, not to the edge, because you don't want to risk running over. And we're going all the way around, all the way to the edge. And the idea is to really seal that film in. We don't want any leaks when we go to add our liquid. Sometimes it's helpful to just tap around the edge, and also adding heat will help level it out as well.
We've got a good question on YouTube. Can you explain again why you sand some and not others?
Yes, so I sand the ones that have the flat edge all the way across. So the ones that have the bigger rim, I will sand. But the ones that you lay the film inside of, I don't sand those, because there's no need to, because you're putting 2 coats on there and it's sitting inside the piece itself. So this is outside, this one is outside. The ones that are inside, you can see there's a ridge in there, and you're gonna put that film inside, so you've got a little bit more leeway there. So now I sand this part. This part is important to sand, but you're not going to do that until after you seal this down. So if it's inside, you don't sand until after. If it's outside, you sand first, because you want that film to stick to the ones with the without the ridge inside. And if you have a rough surface to a rough surface, the adhesion is going to be much better. It's going to stick much better, less likely to have leaks, which we definitely don't want. Okay, so I'm going to let these rest for just a minute, just a moment, and then while those are resting, and before we fill them, I want to talk about how to make these functional, because that is a big, important part of using these shakers, because so many people see these cute shakers and they think, oh my gosh, these are so cute, but what are they for?
Yep, we get that a lot.
What do you do with them?
What do you do with these?
So we have people that actually make them into hair bows, which is super cute. You can do that. You can make them into keychains. If you wanted to do a keychain, all you have to do is drill a hole into the side like we did for the liquid, and put an eye hook in there, and then UV resin the eye hook in, add your hardware, you're done. So these definitely can be keychains. Or you can do magnets like we talked about. So we're gonna get our stuff out here, because I'm gonna show you how to do it. So this is your phone grip here. So what I would do for the phone grip, you can see how it kind of comes out here, is this is where I would use my Velcro. So you can put the Velcro onto the phone grip like this, okay? Because once you adhere this to your phone, you're not going to be able to take it off. So we want to be able to change out our shakers. You don't want a Halloween shaker at Christmas time, right? So I'm going to show you how to prevent that. So we're going to put the Velcro on this side. This is going to go on our phone, this side, and then you put this Velcro on the back of your shaker. So you're going to put this on the back, and I'll actually do this one for you guys.
Great idea.
So cute, so cute. So you're just going to figure out where you want it to line up on your piece, okay? And then we're going to put that sticky tape, and this is super sticky, guys, super sticky. And then all you do is take the Velcro pieces and press, just like that. You're going to press it in, and then you have this adorable little shaker on your phone grip.
Cute.
And it's awesome because if you want to swap it out, you just break it apart, and then you can put the Halloween one on. So if it's Halloween, you can have your Halloween one and then switch it for Christmas and so on and so forth. So this is a way to not have to mess with the pain of taking the phone grip off, because nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to take it off. But I'm telling you, this stuff is super sturdy too. It's very, very good. This is called Dual Lock by 3M. You can get it pretty much anywhere, but just make sure it's that brand, because this one is, I trust this one. So that's how you do that. And then for your magnets, you can simply, this has a really good adhesive on it, so you'll just peel this off and then add it to your piece like this. And then what I will typically do is I will add a little bit of UV resin on the sides just to seal it in, just to make sure that it's not going anywhere. So I'll do one side, and then I do the other side, just like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the Magicure for 60 seconds at 36 watts, and then I got a magnet.
Cute.
Super simple. So many things you can transform these into. You can do badge reels. Badge reels are another great way to utilize that dual lock tape, because you can simply keep the same badge reel and put the dual lock tape here, and you can transfer shakers in between. You can even do phone grip one day, badge reel the next, whatever you want to do, but completely interchangeable, which makes it nice and easy and functional. We're gonna do one last pass of heat on this. What you can do to clean it up is use something called a deburring tool. And this is my favorite tool when it comes to resin, because it makes cleanup so easy. I'm gonna put these in the Magicure now so that we can start curing those, you guys, but I'll explain the deburring tool while these are under the lamp. So we're gonna put these under the Magicure, and we're gonna start at the 6 watts and titrate up like we did every 10 seconds. So when you have the deburring tool, when you have resin that has run over, or you have a little bit of extra on there, for instance, there's a little bit of extra right here on my little snowman and right around here. All you have to do is take your deburring tool, and it almost works like a potato peeler, and it goes into really small areas, which is nice, and it has a swivel top to it. This is probably the #1 tool that we sell, because you'll only buy it once, because it comes with 10 blades and they will never wear out. So buy this once and you're gonna be set for life. But you're gonna just peel this away. You're just simply gonna peel around. And the beauty of it is you do not have to sand it. So you're gonna have this really nice, clean, smooth edge with no sanding, no dust, no hassle. It's super simple. It's just a really easy way to clean up your pieces and keep them looking really nice. And if you wanna switch your blade or put your blade in, all you do is push down, and then the blade comes out, put your new blade in, and let go. Super simple. Great questions though. Great questions. Keep them coming, guys, while you got me. All right, so you guys got your solution ready. I'm gonna show you how to fill your shaker and seal it. But first, let's preview our glow-in-the-dark skeleton and ghost with that color burst. These will glow for quite a long time, and I used glow-in-the-dark stars in the clay mix as well. So this turned out really, really cute, you guys. Now that we have our little shakers, we're gonna go ahead and we are going to fill one of these up, and you guys can fill it up right along with me so that you learn how to do it also. I want you to take the tip and you're going to put it right here, and you'll see how it goes right into the piece right there. And we're just gonna gently start squeezing our solution in. And what I want you to do is, once it's halfway full, I want you to kind of jiggle it around a little bit, because I want those clay pieces to get coated with the solution. And that's gonna prevent air bubbles, and it's also going to make the bubble at the top a lot smaller. So you can see this looks so cute already. So let's go ahead and finish this guy off. We're gonna fill it up all the way.
Everybody's very interested in our holiday kit.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun, you guys.
Made for the holidays.
It's gonna be a good one. I hope to see you there. All right, so once you get it to the top, and I'm gonna kind of tap the clay that's at the top, I wanna tap it down. So I'm just gonna gently tap down. You can see that all the other air bubbles are coming to the top. That's what you want. So you're left with one big bubble right there, and we're just gonna top it off. Now you wanna leave a little bit of an air bubble because you want there to be movement. If you don't have any air bubble in there, you're not gonna have any movement. So we just wanna make sure that we are leaving a little bit of space there. And so what I typically will do, because this has glycerin in it, I will grab some alcohol spray and I'll spray it on a paper towel. And then I will clean that surface really good before I add my UV resin to seal it. So we're just gonna clean it really good. And you can see my hole right there. It's really tiny. I'm gonna blow it a little bit, make sure it's nice and dry. Then what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna use my pocket lamp. You can use your Magic Cure if you want, or your other lamp, but the pocket lamp's super handy when it comes to sealing these because it's quick and small. So I'm gonna take my UV resin and I'm going to put it right over that hole, just like that. And I'm actually gonna use my gloved finger and I'm just gonna press that UV resin into that hole. And then I'm gonna cure it with my pocket lamp. And we're gonna do that twice because I wanna make sure that it's nice and full there. And you can see how small my bubble is. If your bubble, while you're filling it, if your bubble is bigger than you like, just keep tapping down. Keep tapping down as you're filling, and it'll run over a little bit, but that's okay. The other way around that to fix that is you guys can drill a bigger hole. If you drill a bigger hole, it allows more air out of that hole while you're filling it, and it'll be a lot easier to fill. So those are your two options. You can tap, tap, tap if you want just a small hole to fill, or you can make a bigger hole and it'll be a lot quicker and easier. So it's totally up to you. And that is all, guys, for filling. It's so simple, so quick and easy, and look how cute.
Very cute.
So cute. So all you have to do is add your magnet. You can add your dual lock tape if you want to make it into a badge reel, but this one is because it has such a small bubble at the top, it's going to flow a lot slower. If you want it to flow faster, then you're gonna want to do a bigger bubble at the top. So, super cute, super, super cute. Okay guys, well, that concludes our shaker class today. I hope that you guys learned a lot, and I hope you had a lot of fun, because I always have fun crafting with you guys.